Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the next She-Hulk episode review of episodes 5 and 6. So I am joined by my very good friend once again, Allie Whoops. So let's bring her in.
Hi.
Hi. So glad you got to join me again for this.
I'm really glad I did too, especially because this week was looking a bit for a minute there.
Yeah.
But made it, all set up and good to go.
Yeah. All right. So this time we're talking about episodes 5 and 6.
Mm-hmm.
So just your overall thoughts of these episodes before we break it down.
Oh, I mean, I loved them, but I've loved everything this show has produced. And I'm really interested to see where they take some of the new plot threads that we've begun to see. Because I feel like they got us on the hook with this is a funny lawyer show. And now they're like, hey, do you want to see some of the hate and harassment that women face just by existing? Of course you do.
Yeah. They really got me hooked from like the very beginning. Like even before the show even came out, I was all for the show. And I'm just loving it every week, like more and more.
I fully agree. Even from the early stuff that the cast and crew were sharing about the vibe that they were going to look to, hit in this show, I was very on board with everything, with everyone involved. And it's just has been such a delight. And by far, I think even if I didn't have my predisposed love of She-Hulk, this would probably be my favorite of the Marvel shows just because it is so unique and different and fun. While also, then they'll hit you with a real issue.
True.
But they get it in there all sneaky.
I mean, I think that's kind of the vibe that Disney and Marvel were hoping to do with the show, especially like with She-Hulk being the character that she is. Like them kind of bringing her to life in this show has just really been amazing.
I fully agree. I just spoke to somebody yesterday who told me they went, oh, I wasn't sure what to think. I didn't like her talking to the camera. And then someone told me she's been doing that since the 80s in comics. So that's okay. Yeah, that's cool. Neat that they did that. And I was like, yes, we're getting even the non-believers.
Yes. I mean, when I first saw that they were doing that, I was like, yes, she's breaking the fourth wall.
Yep.
Love it.
Delighted. It's been excellent. And Titania has been a really fun modern take on that character, who's always been one of my favorite street level villains, I'd say.
Yeah.
The way that they have presented her for a modern audience is very unique, and I'm glad we got to see so much more of her in the last 2 episodes. Also because Jamila Jamil is just killing it in that role.
Yeah, I mean, I personally don't know a lot about Titania. I'm sure you could share some knowledge about her more than me, but she's grown on me.
I could have prepped a bit more for it, but my main exposure to her has been like those Dan Slott comics that talk about how she got her powers, which I believe it had to do with Doctor Doom in the comics, which is, there's a lot of things in the MCU right now popping up that is like, and Doctor Doom's involved with that. Where do you figure he is in this? Obviously, we don't know how she got her powers in the show. But like in the comics, she was somebody who was kind of looked down on and bullied a bit by her friend group. And then when she got her power, she was like, oh no, I'm just going to beat them all up. She's a bit of a dark Jen story like that. Like if Jen had gotten her powers and decided she was going to become, a bully about them to get the love and attention she wanted instead of becoming everybody's favorite big green superhero. Which is why I feel like them choosing to make her an influencer in the modern story really fits. She's still a bully and a narcissist, just in a different platform.
Yeah. And it's kind of funny how she like uses the She-Hulk name to like sell her products to her and her followers, and
Oh,
like how
that's a
that
stroke
whole
of brilliance.
and how she goes about all that, which well obviously we'll talk about,
Mhm.
but like starting episode 5, it starts with advertisement of She-Hulk by Titania, that whole thing, and Jen seeing it on TV, like the look on her face was, she's like, "Are you kidding me?"
I I love that, she throws the line in there in the ad, Titania going, "I own who I am," just as, like, an extra slap in the face to Jen of, "I trademarked this first."
Oh my god,
Also
like
referring to her fans as, Titaniacs was excellent.
hilarious. Um,
Mhm,
and like immediately after that, she sits on the couch cooling down with like I think a bowl of cereal or something, and
mhm.
like her cousin Chad just barges into her apartment with all these boxes of the She-Hulk product, thinking that she's the one who created it, and she's like,
Mhm.
I'm not gonna sign that. That's not mine." And then him trying to explain to her what trademarking was, and
Yeah, yeah. I appreciated that greatly, female lawyer, of course men are explaining the law to her. Even her cousin who is a DJ.
yeah.
I
Which
did
by the
very much
way,
appreciate
which by the way, I found it hilarious that he was the DJ for the
Oh, the
wedding.
DJ at the wedding was hysterical. And then that he is using the name The Incredible Hulk, being
Yeah,
related to both Bruce and Jen. That was an
that's
excellent joke.
brilliant.
And then we also get a little bit of Ched in the or in the credits, sorry, for episode 5. Some of that art that they show is him selling the She-Hulk merch out of the back of a van.
Yep. Oh man. Also, just a side comment, I really like how they've been changing up the title cards for each episode.
Oh, it's so good, and they all have just the most excellent bits. Because I think a couple of my favorites that we've seen so far would be Ched selling the merch, and then in episode 4, when you get the little title card of Madison signing, the contract for the Demon Jake.
And then
Those are 2 of the best.
the one for episode 6, just Jen, attorney at law.
Just Jen.
Yeah.
That was the best opening, and then, episode 5 has the, Jamila Jamil doing the opening voice bit and going, "By Titania."
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So after seeing these advertisements by Titania, Jen decides to go to Titania's event where she's selling all her products to her followers and taking
Yeah,
pictures, autographs,
looked like a
and
meet and greet.
yeah, and just I love their interactions between each other. Like,
Oh, they're so good. They play off each other so well. And I imagine that the prop design team must have had a lot of fun making all those fake props for the meet and greet event. All of the, as somebody who's also, done work in makeup and skincare, all of those bottles look like every generic popular brand's
yeah,
aesthetic at the moment. It was
yeah,
pretty
kind
funny.
of,
I
yeah.
enjoyed
So,
that a lot. And I feel like that's about
um,
the part where you start to see that, like, so while Jen was initially, sorry, very apprehensive to the name She-Hulk, it's kind of starting to grow on her a little bit, where it's like,
mhm,
well, and I think that, like, the way that they handle that in this episode is a very clever mirroring of how I think a lot of the fans feel. Because a lot of people learn about this character and they're like, "Oh, she's just, her name is She-Hulk. She's derivative of her cousin." And as we know, the whole
mhm,
reason she has that name is because, Marvel wanted to protect its IP back when the Hulk show with Lou Ferrigno was popular.
yeah,
But then when you get into it and you start to learn about this character, she really means so much to so many people that we no longer care that her name
mhm,
is She-Hulk. Like, yes, it's absolutely fantastic that for a time in Marvel, she's just known as Hulk, but most of us don't mind calling her She-Hulk because she just means that much to us. And I feel like the way that they show Jen, you know, starting to defend her own use of the name in the show and get a bit possessive over it, even
Yeah.
before Holloway asks her to do it for the law, the sake of the firm. I feel like it really mirrors that and made that very relatable as a longtime She-Hulk fan who's occasionally had to defend to people. Yeah, I know her name is not the best, but she is the best, and you need to give her a chance anyway.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, I've always like found her character interesting. I just never
Mhm.
really learned more about her until like
Mhm.
recent years.
Yeah.
But like I I mean, she's a great character and very underrated in my opinion.
Mhm.
So like
Was, they're getting
seeing
a lot of new fans now.
absolutely, but like seeing Jen, I mean, she claims that she doesn't like the name She-Hulk. I mean, she never
Mhm.
really did in the first place, but she's like, I don't like it, but at the same time, there are some things that I enjoy about it.
Yeah, she's
Like,
starting to like parts of becoming She-Hulk. I'm really enjoying how they're portraying her going on that journey of coming to live with the benefits of, maybe I do want this. And it's been a well-paced journey, I think, in the show so far.
mhm. And I
And
think like
her
them having the 30-minute episodes is kind of helping that pace, in my opinion.
I do, and I may have said this last week, forgive me if I did. I feel like there is a thing that is happening where most people I'm talking to about this show are saying, "I just wish the episodes were longer, I just want more." And I think that is carefully cultivated by Marvel to keep you wanting more with this one, rather than to feel satisfied on, "Well, I've had my 1 week She-Hulk," or, "That episode was a bit long." They are keeping you wanting more of this short and snappy show about this sassy, wonderful lady.
Hmm. I mean, they might have said the same thing about WandaVision too, because I
Because she's
know
pretty
those
short.
episodes were not too long. They were like spanning from like
Mhm.
35 to 45 minutes or so. But like that was the only other show to have 9 episodes. All the rest
Yep.
of them had like six.
Well, let us cross our fingers and hope for a long She-Hulk finale. 1 hour finale special, pretty please.
Please, please, Marvel. But like anyway, where was I? She also says she hasn't become a different person that needs a different name,
Mhm.
and like as she's doing that, she crushes her stapler.
I did
Which
like that very much. That whole sequence of her in the office watching and rewatching the Titania ads and being like, "I'm not obsessed. I don't care.
no,
This doesn't bother me."
but it really does to some extent, obviously.
Mhm. Clearly. Clearly for that poor stapler, may Jen Stapler rest in peace.
Yeah. So while all that is happening, there's this other plot story going on
I
with
love this
Pug
bit.
and Nikki. And so
Oh, this
originally he asks her to stand with him in line to get a pair of sneakers. And it turns out that's the guy that makes custom superhero clothing, which is the front of it is a boba cafe.
Yep. I enjoyed that sequence with Pug and Nikki so much, and I know I did also talk about last time we were here about how I really preferred the show's version of Pug over the comics version, but I
Yeah.
really, really liked this bit because I felt like this bit brought MCU Pug a little bit closer to comic Pug because he is a giant nerd still.
Yeah.
He's just a giant nerd with, less self-pity. So I really enjoyed him being a sneaker nerd, but also a little bit of a comic nerd because he's going after like Iron Man shoes and stuff. And like, of course you are, buddy.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed getting to see his little geek out over that. It was adorable. And he and
Hmm.
Nikki play off each other incredibly well in that sequence.
And like the guy had Avengers and Avengers like
I need a
merch.
Avengers shirt so bad. I am actively waiting for somewhere to sell me an Avengers shirt so I can wear it every day of my life.
That'd be amazing.
The Avengers was good, but Avengers, there's just something about that word that makes me laugh every time.
I was cracking up during that scene. Like
I love when you see them in the elevator with all their bootleg Avengers gear, just everything on at once heading up the elevator is, if I don't see some cosplayers doing that in the next year, I'm gonna have to ask some questions.
yeah. So they get to talk to the guy via intercom.
The guy.
The
Yep.
guy. And he straight up denies them at first. He's like, I don't have time for this. Just go away. But then they say that Jen is an Avenger and that she's one of the best elite Avengers. And he's like, fine, 15-minute consultation. And then when we finally get to meet him, like I love that whole scene with him. Like,
Luke the designer he's incredible. Very good addition to the show. I had something else to say about that, and I'm so sorry. It has just flown from my brain now.
Okay.
But I really enjoyed him. The attitude he brings to the show is very good. I am wondering if lying about being an Avenger or being lied about on her behalf being an Avenger is going to come back in some capacity for Jen, whether it's just an offhanded throwaway line when she meets some people on the team later and it got back to them, or if they seek her out and that's how she makes contact with them because of that. Who knows? I wonder if that comment may come back in some capacity at some stage.
I mean, it could. It's an interesting theory, actually.
It might not. It could totally just be a throwaway funny, but I also wouldn't put it past them to even make it a throwaway funny line later or something.
Mm-hmm. You're like, hey, we heard that you reached out to someone who
apparently you're joining the Avengers?
Yeah. Like, would you want to like an audition or something?
I think the Avengers have auditions. Do you think Bucky did like a little dance? I guess he's not technically on the Avengers, but I still think that'd be funny.
Yeah. But like,
I bet Hawkeye did stand up for his audition.
Like kind of a side note for that,
Mm-hmm.
there was an old like Fantastic Four cartoon that I watched years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it was an episode where Ben lost his powers, and ironically enough, the Fantastic Four or Johnny Storm held auditions to fill a spot on the team.
He would.
And all these different people came in and auditioned, and most of them were not cut for the team. And then ironically, the last person to show up was Jennifer Walters. And Johnny's like, oh, come on, you're a superhero. Like, she showed up as Jen at first.
And good.
Yeah. And then she just powers up and like, I think Johnny like actually screamed when he saw her.
I should find that episode. I really should, because I'm assuming that's the Fantastic Four cartoon that's on Disney Plus.
It's
like, I want to say it's 80s or 90s or something.
No, that's
sorry. If you have to.
That's a different one. I think it's
they might not
Fantastic Four: World's Greatest Heroes. It's from the 2000s, actually.
Interesting. I still might have to find that episode just because that sounds excellent.
I can try to find it and send it to you if you want. Or
maybe do, yeah. That sounds good.
But anyway, back to the episode.
Yep.
Sorry to go off on a rant there.
You're okay. She-Hulk related.
Yeah. kind of. So where was I?
Well, we'd gone through meeting Luke, and then you also have, meanwhile, happening Mallory representing She-Hulk, and
Yeah,
the meeting with Holloway, and that first time in court as well.
yeah, that's actually what I was about to get into.
All right,
So
awesome.
kind of we get more of an introduction to Mallory Book, who's
Mhm.
part of the Dan Slott run. So she's a character
Mhm.
that is in the comics. We
Mhm.
get to know her more. Um, so she's like very professional. She's like, this we're not friends. I'm just representing you.
Mhm.
I'm the lawyer. You're the client, and that's it. So she tells it like it is, and um, like, well, what are your thoughts about Mallory?
Okay, so I had a lot of thoughts about Mallory going into this, actually, because we had seen previews that implied that Mallory was going to be Jen's lawyer in this fight, because we knew that it was coming from the end of episode 4.
Hmm.
And I was championing, and I believe I received the Reckoning of Mallory book, because in the Dan Slott run, Mallory is a fine character. However, she's an ice queen. She's mean. She's she's a bit of she's kind of an antagonist to Jen. While she's not a villain, she is the mean
Yeah,
other lawyer in the firm who just kind of bullies her. And while that is a valid character who has a place, at the end of the day, she was written by a man who did not give her much sympathy or reasoning, motivation. Like, I don't know, characters like her do just exist sometimes, and I really do like Dan Slott's work. However, I was excited to see Mallory written by a team of women who were gonna make her an ice queen but likable. Because women do not owe people being the smiley, happy go lucky woman. Some of them just want to be professional business ladies who do not want to be friends, and that is okay. And I wanted to see
hmm,
that portrayed as that is okay instead of, oh, Mallory's so because she's not buddies with everyone at the firm. Like, Mallory has a right to not be friends with you guys. And this
yeah,
episode gave us a lovable Mallory who, like, is not the bubbly buddy buddy with everybody, but is still a human being who is likable and deserves respect. And it was just everything I wanted. Sorry for my
yeah.
little going off.
No,
I had
no,
a
no,
lot of
no
thoughts on
worries.
it.
Like, I totally agree with you. Like after reading the Dan Slott run and
Hmm.
seeing who Mallory was, like she really was mean to Jen, like a
Hmm.
lot. Like
Yeah. And there wasn't a lot of
so,
reason for it. It was just like Jen
yeah,
exists.
I know. Like why? Why are you being so mean?
Exactly. And it was like, just the woman, I don't need her to be nice, but just give her character with that. And I enjoy sometimes seeing a character who is not just the nicey nice. And Mallory adds a bit of depth to the show by being very different and very much her own character.
Hmm.
And I really enjoyed her interactions with Jen, them having a friendly drink after, but still maintaining that they are, you know, workmates who get along,
Yeah.
versus her kind of blooming friendship with Nikki in the second episode. It's all very good, very respectful to Mallory and the justice that this character deserved and received.
Yes. Completely agree. And we got Fuki Louie. Hello.
When they go into court, we do also get oh, sorry, we do also get Titania throwing out the nice suit Shrek line.
Yeah.
So, I don't think they went back and filmed that after the Hateful Trolls started using that one. I think they just knew. They knew that would happen. And that makes it
Yeah.
hilarious because I feel like the writers of this show anticipated everything the trolls and
Yeah.
the pointless haters would pull out about this. And I love it.
Hmm.
I don't need everyone to love this show. It's not made for everyone. But when they
Hmm.
don't love it, I just need them to accept that this wasn't made for them and they can shut up about it and go about their day. They don't need to
Right.
whine. that yet another Iron Man film wasn't made for them. Guess what? There's lots of those. This is for us.
Yeah. It's for the people that actually like appreciate the character for who she is.
Exactly. So, but acknowledging the nice suit Shrek, that was very funny. I loved that.
Yeah.
Also, Titania bringing samples of her skincare products into court was the most influencer thing I've ever seen in my life.
Right.
And that got me. That got me.
Yeah, like, and the judge was like, what is this? Like, can we stay on track here?
Submitting into evidence or just straight bribery?
Right. So basically, Mallory requests a motion for summary of judgment, and Titania's lawyer claims that Jen wasn't remotely interested in the She-Hulk name until it was
being used for the product.
Became associated with Titania and her product. So basically, the judge asks if Jen has used the name She-Hulk in any like personal like instances, which in fact she has, which she realized later in the episode.
Yeah.
And she ends up using the 4 guys that she went on dates with as witnesses.
Oh, I do love that one. And that so we get to see because after they do that second part, after they come back from meeting Luke, which we've already gone through, and you've got the date who was actually just a fan first as Mallory's client, and they see him, and that's where the idea sparks from. And you see that She-Hulk wrote the title of this week's episode into her dating profile, which was mean, green, and straight poured into these jeans, which is possibly one of the most beautiful poetry lines ever written in human history.
I love it.
That is one of my favorites.
Yeah, I love this comment.
That is one of my favorites. Hold on, I wrote down the exact quote, and it was a football player pleading no contest to a DUI.
Yeah.
The shows are hysterical.
That was great.
Oh, it's incredible. And Mallory's fashion taste also impeccable. Absolutely love it.
I love how Jen and Nikki are like admiring her fashion choices.
I appreciate it. Nikki is so fun. I wasn't really sure what to, make of her when she was announced, because as far as I can find, she's not based on a Marvel character, but maybe loosely based on Jennifer's human friend from like very, very early Gen content. I think even before, the human friend predates the Burn Run, I believe. Don't quote me on that. She might be from the Burn Run, but I think she comes a little earlier even. And I think that's like the inspiration for Nikki. Nikki also has a bit of Patsy energy to me, which I am appreciating, because I feel like in my brain, oh no, that's how Jen's best friend should act. Jen's best friend should be a little bit fun and over the top and dress very bright colors. So my brain believes their friendship because I've already been conditioned with, well, Patsy and Jen are best friends. So Nikki's got a bit of that same energy.
Yeah.
Nikki could be Hellcat and I'd be happy about it.
I mean, we technically have already seen Patsy Walker in Marvel.
Yeah, with the Jessica Jones show.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they have, I'm not sure if it's canon, but I think they've been saying that one is going to have been a variant world. Like the Jessica Jones show and the Netflix stuff is going to have been a variant. And then Charlie Cox returning as Daredevil will be like technically a new story, but how some variants look the same. He's gonna, still look the same, because that's the wild thing about the Marvel universe and the variants. Some of them look the same, some of them don't. And I kind of actually love that, because it's just free reign for whatever to happen. The Loki show set us up good.
I know. Loki was amazing. It's
Oh,
Definitely one
very
of my
excited to hear
favorites.
that.
Like I,
Um,
what were you say?
oh, sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh, Lou's like, give me some Hellcat.
I would love some Hellcat, please and thank you. In the
Yes.
style of I cannot remember the author's name right now, but the Patsy Walker, aka Hellcat show, with the off the wall absurd comedy, it would fit in exactly with this show. So if they want to give it to the same creative team and do that exact same story from
Yeah.
that comic is absurd and hilarious. Although honestly, you may need to do a little bit of backstory first, because I'm pretty sure some of the jokes in that involve her having, been married to Hellstrom and the jokes behind that. So you might need a little backstory first, but
Yeah, I definitely would. 'Cause
if you haven't
I
read that series, I can highly recommend it, especially if you like the She-Hulk comic style of humor. It's drawn in
mhm.
almost more of a Western cartoon style for the art, so it is very loud and out there and it's just Patsy being a fun little nut job, having a great time. Can highly recommend. Also, my favorite girl, Black Cat, is the villain, so yay.
Hmm. That makes sense why you like it.
Oh no, me, predictable never.
Okay.
Uh, anyway, in the court scene, you do see the last guy, the one she actually spent the night with, make the
Mhm.
comment about how She-Hulk is amazing and strong and beautiful, and Jennifer is not really his type. And I think every person watching that, their heart broke a little.
Yeah, mine did.
I felt terrible for her, but Jen, and she handles it so well and even gives the guy a little wave as he leaves the courtroom later.
Yeah, he smiles at him and
And I think that was what Mallory says to Jennifer concerning that was my ideal Reckoning of Mallory book, as I call it, moment where Mallory goes, "What that beautiful man said, you deserve and can do better than that."
yeah.
I thought that was really beautiful.
Yeah,
That
I
was
know. I was like, "Oh,
solidarity between women, and they don't necessarily have to be the best of friends, but they can respect and support each other. And I
absolutely."
really appreciate a show showing us complex and different relationships and friendships between women like that.
Me too. I love shows that can do that.
Mhm.
Jen says she's gonna need therapy. I would say so.
I mean, honestly, she probably should have gotten it as soon as she became a Hulk. Is there not somewhere in the Marvel world there has to be a superhero therapist? And we do meet one actually in Jen's, comic run in the Mariko Tamaki series. She does go to a therapist who specializes in superhuman therapy. I guess maybe the concept of superhuman is a bit new in the MCU, although we're starting to see more low-key powered people around, like through
Mhm.
seeing like Mr. Immortal and Donnie Blaze and there was another prime example I just wanted to throw out, and Titania herself even. There's just people running around with not superhero defend the planet level powers, but
Mhm.
street level powers, and we're laying a groundwork, and surely at this point somebody is getting in on the specialized market of superhuman therapy, right? There's got to be
They
somebody.
yeah, they certainly would make a lot of money because there's, like, so many people now, like, it's
I
hard to
think
keep
this is
track
great
of them.
because yeah, and the She-Hulk show is giving us a little peek into what's happening at the ground level of all of this. The day to day of a world where superheroes exist. And because a lot of the other, movies and things you're just seeing, when it's Captain Marvel, she's busy defending the planet. You're not going to see Carol on the ground meeting with your everyday, average Joe who's a little strong, but not strong enough to be on the Avengers.
Yeah. I mean, you would see her meeting up with her, BFF, Jessica, so
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Give me that. Give me that.
and by the way, I really hope to see them both, like, meet in
I can
Marvel,
dream.
like,
I can
yeah,
dream.
they're they're definitely one of my favorite friendships in, like, Marvel Comics.
Well, not to get sidetracked, but I do think they are my favorite friendship because I think that most
Mhm.
authors who have undertaken writing, uh, Jessica and Carol, have written the most accurate adult female friendship I've ever seen. They don't act like catty teenage girls or,
Yeah,
anything like that at each other. They act like two adult women living their own lives who are also the very best of friends, and I find them incredibly relatable, and I love them dearly.
true. Same. Same here. They kinda remind me of me and my own friends. Like,
Yeah,
it's amazing.
definitely. I think a lot of people who are older than 16 can see themselves in their friends in Jessica and Carol, and not that we don't need good adolescent female friendships as well, but
Mhm.
there's already quite a lot of those in media, and I feel like you don't often see 2 grown women who are also living their own lives. Jessica's a mother, making time for their friends, but also not needing to talk to their best friends every second of every day, but that doesn't make them less best friends. I appreciate that.
Mhm.
But anyway, on She-Hulk,
Yeah. Sorry.
um you're okay, because we got on that track, because I believe we were talking about Mallory and Jen being,
Yeah.
like, a different kind of friendship or, like,
Mhm.
work colleagues respect. That's
Mhm.
really good. And then we get that last scene back at Luke's.
Mhm.
Um, I was mentally screaming at my television through that entire scene, "Show me the suit, show me the suit, show me the
I know.
suit."
I know.
Oh, we've seen it, it's on merch, but yeah.
Thanks for hanging out, Free Kitty, Chloe.
Yeah.
And he says, "You are awesome possum."
Aw, thank you so much. It's very sweet of you.
Yeah, go give her a follow on Instagram, y'all. She's amazing.
Thank you.
But yeah, pretty much ever since the show started, we were like just desperately waiting for when are we gonna see Daredevil? When are we gonna see him? And we finally get a teaser, the last scene of this episode, and like I think that it was really well done, honestly.
That was a very excellent teaser. Uh, I'm glad that his suit is yellow. I think I probably already talked about that previously. I love that.
Hmm.
Bright yellow, little bit silly. Gimme, it's gonna fit in with the show great. And then give me Jennifer's suit, please and thank you.
Yes, please. I mean, there's 3 episodes left, so we'll see it soon
3
enough.
left. And I'm probably gonna, print out all the screenshots of the suit and tape them to my bedroom wall until every angle of it's just Jennifer, Jennifer, she and everywhere you look, there will be the suit.
Hmm.
It hasn't consumed my life or anything. Why do you ask?
I'm sure yours is gonna turn out amazing.
I haven't touched it since we last spoke because I've been too busy getting ready for a video game convention that is upcoming here.
Ooh, nice.
Very exciting. But if I want to wear video game related things, that doesn't involve She-Hulk, so she's sitting in the work in progress bag for a minute, and then
Yeah,
I'll finish her after.
understandable.
Mm.
Um, I mean, I think there's that's pretty much everything for episode 5 that I
I
can think
think that's
of,
a
unless you
Yeah,
had
I think
any
that
other thoughts.
no, you know me, I speak when I feel like speaking. You can't stop
Yeah,
me.
yeah. Okay, so episode 6 is the self-contained wedding episode.
Oh, because that one of those first things you see is that completely over the top bridesmaid box with the glitter cannon.
And all the glitter coming out of the card, like what?
And then the bride tribe cup in there and everything. It was excellent. Although the one thing I couldn't wrap my head around was like, was this supposed to be her opening the box months ago? Surely it must have been, because it takes some time to plan a wedding. Yet I'm
Yeah.
not completely convinced that it wasn't a last minute thing because later in the episode, when you see her in the bridesmaid's dress, it's too big and too baggy, which I believe she must have given her Hulk measurements because she was planning on going as the Hulk. And dresses are, typically fixed up far
Yeah.
enough in advance before a wedding that if
Mhm.
it wasn't like a very quick last minute thing, you would have thought she would have only had the Jen measurements. So, but we ignore that because it is a comedy show.
Yeah. And
I've just been
also
looking in.
and also, like, when you ask someone to be your bridesmaid, you would ask them, like, months prior so they
Yeah,
would have time to
exactly.
get the dress and everything. So,
But like I said, we'll gloss over that because this is a comedy show, possibly just a bit front of my brain because I'm looking into planning my own wedding in the near future, and I'm like, that is not how timelines work on weddings."
yeah, and, I really like how, when Jen was showing, Nikki their 2 outfits that, Luke made for her, like,
Yes.
Nikki said, "Shulky," which
Yes, the
is
first use of Shelky in the
yeah,
show. Oh, that brought me some joy. I
I'm
loved that
like,
they
"Yes."
made that canon in that world. That was excellent. And of course, they've got her super suit in a suit bag there, and I'm like, "Please stop teasing me with it. Please, just give it to me. Why are you doing this to me?"
Even Nikki wants to see it, like like, "Come on, just show us.
Yep.
We need it
But then you
now."
have Jen rocking up to the rehearsal dinner in that amazing polka dot dress, fully as She-Hulk, and it's like, yeah, of course the bride's a little upset you showed up as a superhero, Jen,
Yeah.
but I think this is kind of continuing to play off what we saw in the previous episode, where she's starting to take a little more possession of that side of her. And, like, now that she's
Yeah.
won the court case and title, she's, like, feeling like the fun element of presenting as this
Mhm.
She-Hulk. And again, I feel like this is kind of a thing that a lot of people can relate to, especially people who were, maybe more late bloomers in life and didn't get a lot of attention when younger. And then one day you rock up and, "Oh, everybody likes me when I'm like this?"
Mhm.
And kind of that, yeah, no, of course she kind of wants to be that. And I think
Mhm.
and there's a time and a place for her to be that, and it's not necessarily your high school friend's wedding.
Oh,
And, I mean, they do a good job later of establishing the bride is kind of a terrible person who yells at waitstaff, so you don't care as much,
yeah.
but we'll get into that more as we go, but it's yeah, it's really good, I think, and really relatable in that way.
Mhm. And I think definitely after winning the case against Titania gave her, like, a
Mhm.
boost of confidence too.
Yep. Definitely. And I'm finding that this is very well reflecting, a lot of She-Hulk comics that we've seen where she struggles with her 2 identities and wanting the confidence of being She-Hulk all the time, but tending to get glossed over as Jen. And I oh, it hits some notes. It's really like I said, I think it's relatable to a lot of women,
Mhm.
and that there is nothing inherently wrong with her wanting to be this new side of herself, but again, time and place.
Yeah, so, like, of course, her friend pulls her aside, she's like, why are you here as She-Hulk?" And she doesn't really give her a reason, obviously, so she's like, "Okay, I promise I will not show up as She-Hulk tomorrow for the wedding. I'll be just Jen.
And the
No
Just Jen
worries."
title sequence.
Yeah. Again with the title card, which is brilliant. But, like, immediately after that, she's, like, wanting to know all the details of her life, even though Jen says, like, she hasn't spoken to her in years, but she's like, "Just tell me, what have you been up to? How have you been?" But mainly what she was saying was, "Are you dating anybody? Is there a man in your life?"
I really love that because Jen keeps trying to tell every person at this wedding, I'm really happy and self-fulfilled. My life's going well. And everybody just wants to know, yeah, but are you in a relationship? And I do think, again, to lots of people, that speaks volumes. I've talked to people who feel like they identify with Jen's struggle in that area as well. I know that it speaks to a lot of people that she's just trying to tell them, I'm happy and fulfilled. A relationship would be nice, but I don't, she doesn't feel like she needs it right now. Like, clearly she wants one through what we've seen in the course of the show, but she
Yeah.
just wants everybody from high school to know I'm doing good, and nobody
Mhm.
wants to hear about it if it doesn't involve a man. And I just, again, this show just spitting the real sad reality of it existing as a woman sometimes.
Yep. I mean, even later in the episode when she's talking to Josh, who we'll talk a little bit about,
Yeah.
she's like, I just wanted to come to a wedding and like say everything's fine. Like I'm good.
Drunk Jen made me a little sad. I felt for her.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
I mean, I also
And
felt
then
for her when she was throwing up in a bush, but that's a different kind of felt for her.
yeah. Hello to comic book spot.
Hi. I agree. That's very much, I think, I feel like the first couple of episodes of She-Hulk set up with the whirlwind of the initial emotions of Jen, finding out she is a Hulk. And the middle episodes are very much her becoming who she wants to be, finding out where she wants to fall now that she has the Hulk powers, figuring
Mhm.
out what makes her happy in that space. And again, I think that is something that a lot of people go through much later in life than they think they're going to. I think a lot of people think they're going to pop out of the, at 18 and be right. I am the person I want to be. I'm moving forward with my life. But then there's, Jen is 30 in the show, or in her 30s, and she's just now going, well, I can become a new person and be who I want to be.
Mhm.
And again, I think this is something that, with where everything in the world is, a lot of people are going through. It is something, after spending a couple of years not really getting to go many places because of what was going on outside, a lot of people, myself included, sat down and went, okay, well, I get to leave my house again. And what do I want to do that really makes me happy? Because life is precious. And I think that is helping
Mhm.
Jen's story speak to a lot of people right now.
Yeah, I completely agree. Like it's hard like trying
Mhm.
to like mainly like discover who you are in the first place. I mean,
Mhm.
like everyone goes through it at some point,
Yeah.
but like for Jen, it's a completely different experience, obviously, because
It is.
she has to deal with her Hulk powers she got from her
Mhm.
cousin, and also deal with her life as Jen that she worked
Yeah.
so hard, so many years to get that
Yep.
lawyer degree, and
Mhm.
it's just a struggle, and I feel
Yep.
for her.
I agree. It's really good like that. I think this show is really well written in taking superhuman problems and finding a way to put a spin on it that makes it relatable to people in their everyday lives.
Yeah. And I think Marvel is actually great in doing that in general with a lot of
Yes,
their
I agree.
movies and well, not just movies and TV shows, but their comics too.
Mhm. I
Like
I agree.
there's some comics that I read sometimes that I'm like bawling my eyes out because I'm like, oh my god, that's so
Yeah.
like
I
I feel
definitely have,
that.
like, I have a list of comics that are kind of like these are my comfort comics when I need to feel affirmed. And some of those on the list are She-Hulk comics that just kind of make me feel like I'm where this is something that I'm going through that can be related in some way.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Mm.
So, Jen's friend tells her that she's walking with Jonathan, who happens to be one of the groomsmen, and also it's a dog that we find out
We
later
just
in the episode.
resuscitated him this morning.
It's a tiny little dog.
That got me. I really love the introduction of Jonathan.
And just the fact that she was given ironing duty to iron out the groomsmen's shirts, all because they were playing Mario Kart.
Yep. Yeah,
Like,
it definitely
what?
feels like there is a bit of targeting of Jen there, and I caught
Yeah.
this last night when I hadn't caught it the first time I watched it. What I'm guessing is the blonde bridesmaid kind of seems to be head of the bridesmaids. I'm assuming she's probably the maid of honor or something. But as Jen is approaching that group, you hear the maid of honor going, "Oh, I'll just make Jen do this. We're making her do all the things like that," or something to that degree. Like, I didn't hear it the first time, and I only heard it because I had subtitles on the second time I watched it. And it was like, okay, so we're just further establishing that they are kind of definitely targeting Jen a little bit here.
Yeah, it's kind of obvious that Jen was kind of like the odd
One
bridesmaid
out.
out,
Mm-hmm.
most definitely. And that was kind of sad to see, honestly.
Yep. Yeah, I fully agree, but I think it just plays more into the story of, Jen desperately trying to show people that she's happy, who only want her to be happy in one specific way.
Exactly. But anyway, so she ends up meeting this friend of the groom named Josh,
Mm-hmm.
and like first impression, he's a very, I mean, obviously he's a stranger, like striking up a conversation with her while she's eating candied nuts. But honestly, I think he's too good to be true. But that's
I
just
think
me.
so too, but well,
Like,
like, obviously not to get way ahead of ourselves, but the last sequence implies he's probably with the intelligentsia crew. Although it could just be they have surveillance on them and he's not involved. Like, it hasn't absolutely been confirmed. And I
yeah,
hate to see Jen have another too good to be true guy. But, isn't that just the story of the She-Hulk comics? So I would not be surprised.
yeah,
Just want Jen to be happy,
I
but
know.
I do think that the story we're establishing for now is Jen making herself happy to be her first.
Yeah. And there's also a theory out there that somehow Todd, the one guy that was obsessed with her that she went on a date with, could be connected to the group that's after her blood.
Interesting. Very interesting. Well, yeah, I actually found out. So I did not know this going into the show, but I have been informed since that Intelligentsia is actually a group in the comics as well.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the people on that group would include the leader, who I figured out had actually, last week we were talking about, oh, what if the leader's in it? I did not know at the time he had actually been confirmed already for Captain America New World Order.
Yeah.
So the leader's involved with intelligence, and this is just in comics, and MCU changes things all the time, but it's still interesting to know. The leader, MODOK. My favorite personally that is involved with Intelligentsia is the awesome android who later becomes Awesome Andy. It works at GLK and H in the comics.
Yeah.
If we get Awesome Andy, I will lose my friggin' mind. He was like one of my wish list things for the show that I think is just too out there to actually get. But if I could wish list any one thing in the She-Hulk show, Awesome Andy, give me him. I freaking love him. Little robot computer face man who walks around with a chalkboard writing what he wants to say to people, and he's like, what, 8 to 9 feet tall and just bigger than everything.
I love
Sweetest
it.
little wholesome robot man. And he's huge, but I love him so much. Please give me Awesome Andy as a result of this intelligentsia thing, Marvel. I beg you. Um, and the last really important, notable, I think so far, persons who are involved with intelligentsia, one of them is Chameleon, a shapeshifter, which is very interesting. That something just to keep in mind. And Doctor Doom.
Of course.
Mm. Mm.
He's involved with everything. Let's just put
My
that out
fiance
there.
keeps saying all roads lead to Doom. Every time it comes up with current stuff, he keeps going, all roads lead to Doom. All roads lead to Doom.
Yep. Because Doom is just Doom.
Doom
He's
is.
yeah. Yeah, I definitely think that this won't be the last that we see of intelligentsia.
No, but I am fascinated with how they are handling this group in the show. Because again, I feel like much like the nice suit Shrek comment, it is a prediction of how the show was going to be received. And I felt some things when we saw that page, and primarily because, and I don't say this because it necessarily bothers me or anything, but as I have been cosplaying She-Hulk more and on Instagram and gaining more of an audience that is there for that content, I am getting hatred on my page far more often than I did before cosplaying She-Hulk. It used to be a pretty rare thing. It is
Mm-hmm.
multiple times a week, sometimes daily now. And that is fine. I am not bothered by it. Most of them are not even creative comments. They're just disapproving emojis, and I just delete, block, and move on. But I
Yeah.
find this fascinating that this is not something I was dealing with as regularly before I brought She-Hulk over. And that there is this like, I'm not even doing the show version yet. It's the comic version. But there is this group
Yeah.
that is so set against her for whatever reason that they're just seeking people out like that. And so seeing the show kind of acknowledged that, I was like, oh, we're going somewhere with this. Oh my goodness. And I'm really excited to see where they take it, because women in the public eye like her, there are all kinds of hatred boards dedicated to them, women trying to do good, change the world, and uplift other women and feminine presenting people. And yeah, it's it's a lot, and I'm really glad that they're going there.
Yeah, you can definitely tell that they've kind of I mean, not kind of, but they've definitely acknowledged like the comments and like everything that the show has
Mhm.
received. Most definitely. And they're kind of like presenting like jabs at those people.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know that, like, yeah, women in real life who are in the public eye like this deal with similar death threats and whole threads dedicated to hating their existence and figuring out how to stop them on the internet. And it's really wild to see a happy, fun little lawyer show acknowledging this really dark side of things. And I'm really glad they are, and I'm very, very excited to see the next steps with this and how they're going to deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Like this is probably one of the darkest things that they've shown on this show since it started.
Yeah, I'd say on this show that's pretty fair call.
Like even Nikki said, like this is like these are death threats towards
Yeah.
Jen.
Hmm.
But
And
then
I understand
Mallory's
Mallory. Yeah.
like, shouldn't tell Jen this? Like just
Hmm.
let her live her life and just don't put that in her head. But then Nikki goes and tells her anyway through a voicemail. Of
I
all
agree
things.
with what Nikki's choices were. I don't agree with Nikki choosing to do it over a voicemail, but that was very funny and a great choice. But also Mallory wasn't entirely wrong for thinking maybe they should just let Jen not know and be happier not knowing. But I do agree that she probably needed to know. And
Yeah.
Nikki did the right thing, although Nikki probably shouldn't have done it through a voicemail.
No, that's
But
kind of
that
something that
seems
you
very
should tell your
Nikki.
best friend, like, in person. So,
Nikki is an agent of chaos, and we love her.
yeah. Yeah, she's honestly, I wasn't sure how to, like, take her at first, but she's really grown on me, especially over the past few episodes.
She really vibes with Jen very well. I love seeing her. Honestly, there has not been a single character Nikki has interacted with that I haven't gone, oh, I love her friendship with this person. I love her friendship with Pug, with Mallory, with Jen. I'm like, just
Yeah.
Nikki is a star.
So here's a question.
I think we're definitely looking at intelligentsia at this. Like, obviously, it's somehow them, but
Yeah.
who the MCU is going to choose for that to include is really difficult to say at this stage because, like, I feel like the leader is such an obvious answer,
Mhm.
but if he's going to also be the villain in Captain America, I don't know if they would start him off by being a villain in this show, and then they totally might.
Yeah, I mean, definitely
I don't
could.
know. I know that I believe that in the comics, MODOK used Hulk's blood to create the Red Hulks, but who knows if they'll choose to do anything like that or not. That's a lot for first season. That's a
Yeah.
lot to take in. They may choose to eventually use something like that down the line should this story continue progressing.
Mhm.
Who knows? I just hope we get Awesome Andy out of it. I feel like it's too soon for me to confidently say I believe it's this person because then there will be a recording of me being wrong. Like there is now a recording of me being wrong about hoping that Daredevil was going to be Titania's lawyer. That's right,
Oh,
internet. I was freaking wrong.
oh.
What do you think, Gabby?
Uh, I mean, for the whole Daredevil thing, I believe I heard somewhere that he's gonna be asking Jen, like, he's gonna be there because of he's looking for Jessica Jones.
Interesting.
That's what I heard, but I don't know why he
Interesting
would
rumor.
ask Jen for help with that.
Dunno. It could
Mm.
there could be something. Who knows?
But
I mean,
I know
obviously
soon we'll find out.
Kingpin's a good possibility too. Did I
Yeah,
suggest last week that I wondered if potentially it could be? Oh, I did say the Power Broker was a potential one that we could see.
yeah.
Um,
I think I'm the one that
looking
said
for.
Kingpin was the one who could be
Yeah, I
after Jen's blood.
think he's a pretty strong contender as well.
Yeah, because he's back out on the street and trying to
Mhm.
gain more power. So he
Yeah,
needs some superpowered people to do his dirty work for him.
I think it would be pretty sick if it was MODOK.
I
I don't
mean,
think it. Again, I think that's a pretty big stretch. Although, to be fair, people have been warmed up to the idea of his existence through the Patton Oswalt TV show, so but it's still
yeah.
still a pretty big stretch. Um,
I mean, actually, I think he's gonna be in Ant-Man 3 or Ant-Man Quantumania.
is he? Because I knew we had Kang for that, but we may have like that. That sounds like something that would totally happen. Interesting. Um,
I mean, I think it's just a rumor. I don't think it's been confirmed, but
interesting. Okay,
it would be
I'm getting
interesting to
nods from
see.
across the room that this is correct. Um,
Okay.
we also get there is also a little bit on when in the last sequence when Intelligentsia is surveilling Josh and Jen, that is a message from someone who goes by Hulk King.
Yeah.
And my brain, immediately goes, well, that sounds like something Leader would call himself to me. But
yeah,
there's just so many possibilities up in the air. And I kind of love that I don't have a solid theory. I kind of love that it feels like the world is their oyster. It can be anybody. Because I still feel like it is a bit of an unanswered question. Why was Titania in court on episode 1? Who set Titania loose in there and said, go get him?
That's a very good question.
She looks a little confused when she runs through the door. We may just never answer that question. It might just be Titania charged in for some unknown reason. But I'm not sure that isn't all connected. And Titania keeps telling Jen, you ruined everything for me. Because we see more of that when Titania and Jen fight in this episode. And if Titania's powers, I really don't think that our first reveal of Doom will be in a 30-minute comedy show, but Doom gave Titania her powers in comics. Doom is involved with Intelligentsia, but do we get around that by Intelligentsia gave Titania her powers and later down the line we find out Doom was involved with them? I don't know. I genuinely don't.
So many possibilities.
But I would like to see us come back to Titania bursting into the courtroom.
Yeah. Just to get more of her backstory and origin, definitely.
I want to know exactly why she was there that day and who sent her, or if she's just a messy woman who came on her own.
Yeah. Just looking for attention.
Titania is messy, but again.
Yeah.
We love to hate her.
She's been underused.
As much as I would love to see more of her, I feel like in such short shows, it's really tricky to find a lot more places to put her without sacrificing other stories. I would love to see more of her. I hope she ends up in a movie at some point. I really do. Or at least if the She-Hulk show continues with multiple seasons, that she's recurring, that she's always there. I just want to see her making Jen's life difficult at every turn like she does in the comics. Jen's trying to buy milk, and there's Titania out front the grocery store like, let's go, you and me, right now. That is the kind of relationship I hope to see between them. I'd love to see more Titania, but there's just so much packed into every episode.
I know. Like in one of the She-Hulk comics, just them meeting up just to spar just because they want to.
That is the best part of the Rainbow Rowell comics, is they've been fighting for so many years now that they're like, look, we're the only people who can really throw down with each other without hurting civilians. What if we fight in a construction yard just to get it out once a week? And they start this weird little fight club. And it's incredible.
Great.
If we got that in the show at some point, oh my goodness, I'd be thrilled. Obviously, down the line, it wouldn't quite work right now because they hate each other too much to not be actively, for Titania not to be actively trying to kill Jen.
Yeah.
But later.
Maybe. Hopefully. But speaking of Titania, we can talk about her entrance into this episode.
It's pretty incredible. Titania having her Jen having her whole little, no, Titania's here to get me, and everybody's like, wow, you really think she's obsessed with you, don't you? And Jen's obviously right, but from an outside perspective, that's very funny.
Her friend's like, you're acting crazy right now. It's like, what are you doing?
That's very good.
But Titania claims that she's dating a friend of the groom, and that that she's not there to cause trouble, which obviously Jen sees right through that. Um, and then like she kind of disappears for a while, and then Jen goes buys a bunch of drinks and gets completely drunk and dancing and having a good old time.
With the Incredible Hulk,
Yeah,
doing the DJing.
that's hilarious. Um,
Um, I
but it
would
was
love to
nice
see
to
Chet in
see
the
her.
background from Bruce's content.
Yeah, but like it was really nice to see Jen like having a good time like at
Mhm.
the wedding, despite everything that she has been through recently.
Uh-huh. It was good in her having her drunk talk with Luke at the table. Sorry, not Luke. Sorry, Luke was the designer from. I woke up pretty early this morning with Josh. Josh,
Mhm.
and
Josh,
that was excellent. Very
Josh
wholesome,
with a
very
nice
cute.
face.
Yep, and at that point, I'm still thinking Josh is gonna not be good. He's too good to be true, and I'm gonna throw myself out a window like Mr. Immortal because I'm so upset about it. Because Jen deserves happiness.
I know. She just needs to find like one good guy.
But the thing is, like in comics, has Jen had a consistent partner at any point? That
Not
like
really.
Jen
She's
doesn't really have a Reed to her Sue or a Peter to her Mary Jane. That doesn't really. She doesn't have a consistent. I keep coming back to this person.
yeah, she's honestly been with a bunch of different people.
Yep, she's
if
she's
you
been around and that's fine, but it's a little sad for her that nothing's really gone consistent. She seems to be starting something with Jack of Hearts at the moment, and I'm like, you know what? You both
yeah.
been through some things. Just go be happy, kids. Have a nice time.
Yeah. But like it was actually kind of a nice conversation that she has with Josh at the table, even though she was completely
Mhm.
drunk. But he, but he's seemed pretty genuine, which I'm hoping and praying that he's actually a good person and not out to get her or anything. But
Yeah, I don't trust it, but it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I know. Um, but then immediately after that, she ends up like throwing up outside, and then
Yep. Mm.
Titania comes back into the mix and sucker punches her right after she throws up.
It's pretty incredible the energy Titania brings of being I don't even know how to phrase it. I did use the term messy earlier, and I think that just kind of continues to stick as the most accurate. But the energy Titania brings to every interaction, Jamila Jamil's over the top accent that she's using,
Yeah.
it's a work of art, really. Also, Titania's wedding outfit is legitimately everything, and I would do just about anything to own it. But that pink suit with the sparkle corset is so good. So good.
But like she's like taunting Jen, like trying to get her to turn, and like Jen's just like, well, I knew you were here to hurt me or kill me. No one will believe me, and now here we are.
Hmm. I think what happens next, because like obviously because the audience wants to see them fight, you kind of want Jen to turn, but you also don't want Jen to do it at the wedding because oh goodness no, Jen,
Yeah.
stop, Jen, please.
Yeah. She
But
promised.
I have I have a lot of really positive feelings about what happens next, even though it was objectively a terrible thing of Jen to do. Because the thing
Yeah.
is Jen turning at the wedding, and it just gets brushed off because the bride's very drunk and doesn't care. The bride is so drunk she just
Yeah.
goes, "Oh, she looks at my wedding, yay!"
Yeah.
and is having a nice time, and that's good. And like I said, I think part of the reason we established Lulu as a bad person who verbally abuses wait staff earlier in the show was so we would care a little less. And so
Yeah.
Jen would probably never have to speak to her again. But I feel like so often male superheroes are allowed to do objectively bad things like this, objectively morally ambiguous while not evil. Tony Stark would absolutely rock up to somebody's wedding and enter mid-ceremony in the Iron Man suit. And everybody would laugh it off as, haha, Tony's just like that.
Yeah.
Women don't often get to do that in media. Like, it does not make it right or good that Jen has done that. It is still very, oh my goodness, Jen, you should not have done that. Whether the bride cared or not, that was bad. But for Jen to get to have a character flaw so deep that it ultimately comes down to her own selfishness is why she chose to transform. Because, yeah, you could argue self-defense, whatever. Like, she could have done without. I still think it could have. There were ways around this where it didn't involve Jen becoming She-Hulk and knocking Titania around the dance floor, fully green in the dress. But I think it was really interesting to get to see Jen do something that was objectively, socially not good. And it's not okay that she did it, but it's not like she suffers a long-term social consequence for it, because male characters get to do that all the time. Star-Lord also gets to do and say objectively socially bad things and just laugh it off all the time.
I also found it really funny when Jen was like, I can take you like this. Like, let's go.
Oh, that was so good. A drunk human
Jen. Punching her and just falls flat on her face.
Drunk human Jen, forgetting how to transform everything. Brilliant.
But like
when Titania ultimately knocking herself out by slipping on ice, beautiful, perfect, no notes.
And I think there was a slight moment there that Jen actually kind of feels sorry for her. Like, she's like, it's like, ooh. Like,
I agree,
especially after she falls on her face.
Yeah, and knocks out the veneers. But I think that, again, that's kind of it. For a moment there, you get to see another look into Titania's whole, she is how she is because she's very insecure, which is kind of when she lashes out at the person who's recording, like, oh, you're showing your 11 Instagram followers? Because Titania thinks a small following is a sick burn.
Yeah. But like the whole fight between She-Hulk and Titania,
brilliant to watch.
Great.
I was cringing the whole time because I was like, oh no, this is somebody's wedding, but also, yeah, get her.
Yeah. Yeah, and like Ched playing the music in the background was the best.
Oh, I like I said, I really like Ched. I hope if we see more Bruce content solo in the future, I hope Ched makes his way through that too. I really do. I just want to see Ched involved in all Banner family endeavors.
Absolutely.
All the side characters of She-Hulk can have a collective sitcom that they share.
Also include Madison too.
Oh yeah, Ched, Madison. Plenty of wonderful Mr. Immortal. He can make some appearances and do bad things. Donnie Blaze. There's plenty of delightful side characters that could absolutely star in the most ridiculous sitcom this world has ever seen.
Oh man. But speaking of Mr. Immortal, he's actually I don't know if you knew this, but he is actually a character from the comics. He was in the West Coast Avengers.
Yep, I did just figure that out again last night. He is also a John Byrne creation, which probably explains his use in the show, and that he was originally in West Coast Avengers in, I want to say 89, but I wrote it down somewhere. 89. He's a villain, but are working with like some opposite team, and then the West Coast Avengers stuff and go, you stop that. Which is basically what Nikki and Mallory say to him in the show, you stop that.
Yeah. But like his whole divorce case with all of his many spouses. That
Several spouses. What I love is when he walks out the window to avoid the difficult conversation at first, and then later in the mediation, I don't think I caught this the first time, but he tries to do it again, and it's either Mallory or Nikki puts her hand on his
she's
shoulder and
like,
sits him back down. He just starts to slowly get up, and they just missed it the first time that he was about to do it again. Every time something's hard, the man throws himself out a window, and I admire his dedication to being lazy, if nothing else.
Yeah, like Nikki says earlier in the episodes, like you just don't like any kind of confrontation whatsoever. So you just decide to kill yourself.
He's a new icon for those who are conflict avoidant. Although maybe he shouldn't be.
Yeah. But like I liked how Nikki kind of handles that whole mediation with giving all the different spouses what they deserved, and like especially the one where she says you'll get a sincere apology with like 20 seconds of meaningful eye contact.
Yep, it's 15 seconds, and then when Immortal complains about it, she goes 20 seconds. And I think that is just further developing Nikki as really good at her job, very smart, very useful. And it's also where we get, the first person to mention intelligentsia in the show.
Yes.
So that kind of starts the trail for later.
Mm-hmm.
It's really good. I enjoyed how all the different spouses did absurd things for this man. My favorite was the New Orleans jazz funeral by his husband. That was really funny.
Oh yeah.
And then the one who quit her job to run a jade shop with him, I believe.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the others. That was really good as well.
So many. But yeah, but literally the last scene, we see like kind of it cutting from Jen and Josh eating a plate of French fries to that screen where the I don't know if you saw it, but there was a message from Hulk King on that screen saying is the next phase of like getting She-Hulk in action. And then we see someone, it doesn't show their face, but it showed them getting like a insanely long
bent
like
up
needle
from the Wrecking Crew.
Yeah. So I'm sure we'll see more of that in the next few episodes.
I think the next few episodes will kick it into high gear because, I mean, honestly, it felt kind of like the show took about 2-3 episodes to get up and running on its feet and going, okay, this is like we're setting up at first, and then this is what we're doing with the story from there. And then, like, I'm assuming we're going to have similar time leading to the wind down. Which is so sad. I'm going to be genuinely really depressed when this show is over. It has been such a highlight of my week. Obviously, like, because of this podcast, I've already rewatched most of the episodes at least once, but this is going to be oh no, I rewatch this frequently. This is my new comfort show.
I mean, it's going to be on Disney Plus, so we can just watch it.
I'm going to get my money's worth out of Disney Plus just rewatching She-Hulk constantly.
Yeah. So I guess it won't be long until a certain Daredevil comes soon, hopefully.
What episode do you think he comes in on?
I'm thinking I'm kind of hoping it's not the last episode, but I'm probably gonna say episode 8.
I think I'm feeling the same. I feel like there's a chance at 7 because we got the first hint in 5 and then we forget about it for an episode, and then so we could maybe a quick glimpse in 7, potentially. It might just be nothing. Seriously. I
Yeah.
think 8 is my bet as well. And even if we get any of him in 7, my guess, and again, I don't know, would be it wouldn't be more than a quick glimpse, and his first substantial bit would be 8.
Yeah.
I think we'll
Most
get at least
definitely.
a couple. Most substantial characters seem to be lasting at least 2 episodes. A Hulk, Wong.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, Madison only got 1 episode, but there's still time for her to come back and tell us that the Y is not where we think.
Yeah. Right. But like I'm genuinely so excited to see how this ends, but also kind of sad because it's ending.
I
But
agree. I agree. I just, if I wake up the day after the finale to an announcement that season 2 has had the green light, haha, puns. Um, that's my ideal world. Keep living in a world where there's always more She-Hulk on the way, please and thank you.
yeah, most definitely. I would love to see um more She-Hulk. Like any at any day, anytime.
Anytime. I really think she'll probably make her way into one of the movies. Like I have a
Oh
pretty
yeah.
strong feeling that'll happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna be good. I'm so
Can't wait.
excited, so delighted by this show, and really just I have never felt such a level in my life probably of thankfulness to creators as I do to the team that made this show for taking something that already meant so much to me and making it so beautiful and meaningful and like still speaking to me like the comics did, but across different ways. And
Yeah.
the love and care that was poured into this show, like, if in my life I go to a Comic Con and ever have the opportunity to meet people who worked on this show, I will probably weep in their presence.
Aw. Like for me, like this show it's definitely been like a light, like especially
Mhm,
over the past few Marvel projects that we've gotten. Like
mhm.
it's definitely been like a like fun vibe. Like
It's really
that's
fun, and I'm
the
so
best way I
glad
can
that
describe it.
Marvel is now making such a variety of shows that speak to a variety of people, because I know that She-Hulk is not gonna mean to everyone out there what she means to me. But, we are about to get Wakanda Forever, which will introduce Ironheart. And what
Hmm.
She-Hulk means to me, Ironheart means to other people out there. We have
Hmm.
Kamala Khan, who I know from other people that I know personally, she means the world to them. And that we are now getting such a wider variety of characters that everyone is able to have that special character and content that just means the world to them. It makes me really happy to know that that's the direction we're going in.
Yes, I completely agree. Oh,
Oh,
thank
thank you,
you,
Comic Boom.
Comic Boom.
I find that the negative people about the show seem to be a bit of a vocal minority who aren't putting a lot of effort into their negativity. I am meeting so many people in real life and on the internet who didn't really know what this was, but they gave it a chance and they think it's fun. Or even people who go, it's not for me, but it's very fun and I'm glad people are enjoying it. And yeah, um, it makes me glad. I like to spread the
Yeah.
positivity about the things I enjoy, and the things
Hmm.
that weren't made for me, I'll just let other people spread that positivity. That's their job.
Yep. I mean, that's kind of the whole reason why I wanted to do
Mhm.
this review in the first place, because I kind of did the same with like WandaVision
Yeah.
and Falcon and Winter Soldier with another friend of mine in the comic
Mhm.
community. So I knew once the show came out, I had a strong feeling that I would really love it because I love
Mhm.
She-Hulk. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to do this. So,
Yeah.
and I'm glad that you were able to join me for this.
Thank you again for inviting me. It's been really great. I've had a really fun time doing this.
Yeah. So the next time we meet will be, I think, 3 weeks, where we'll
Yep,
be
for
talking
the
about
last one.
seven 7,
Yep.
8, and 9. Yep.
Yep. 7, 8, and 9 on what is Saturday night to you and Sunday morning to me.
Yep. But yeah, I think that's about it that we
I'm
have
really
for y'all
excited.
today.
Excited, and I'll bring a box of tissues to the last podcast in case I cry about it being over.
Yep. All right, y'all. Thank you everyone for tuning in and hanging out with us and sharing your thoughts. I really appreciate it. And once again, if y'all are on Instagram, go give my friend a follow because she is fantastic. And her cosplays
Thank you
are
guys so
amazing.
much. I will be working on the new She-Hulk show costume again soon.
Yeah, I can't wait to see it.
Thank you so much again, Gabby. I hope you have a lovely evening. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and all your nice words.
Yeah. So we will see you guys again next time.
Bye.
Bye.